What say you, sir, for the story of the year?
And my overarching story, I did think about officiating because it's becoming something we just can't ignore. Like, this is almost an every week thing where we're complaining about officials and the ridiculousness at the end of the Lions-Cowboys game and all that. But I'd settled on bad quarterback play. And I hate to be negative around here, but I thought that this season was very, very choppy, and it goes back to the bad quarterback play. Now, some of this is out of their hands. We didn't know Aaron Rodgers was getting Achilles tear 4 plays into the season, or Kirk Cousins go down, season-ending injuries way too early. That really hurt the quarterback play. This season is going to be remembered for Mahomes dragging that team to a Super Bowl, but he wasn't great this season. Brock Purdy had more yards per game passing. So I just thought quarterback play across the board, with a few exceptions, was pretty much down. We could see that with the MVP race, which changed every week pretty much because nobody was taking it by the horns. And I thought that really affected the play. I mean, when you're watching all of these games, it doesn't sound like much if, 4 or 5 teams have lost their quarterback, but that means 4 or 5 games out of your 8 in the early window are just kind of ruined, and they're not very fun to watch. So I'm looking for that, hopefully, to rebound next year, because when quarterback plays bad, the NFL is bad. When quarterback plays great, the NFL is great. That was my story of the year because it kind of, I thought, overshadowed a lot of things.
I love that call. I went a little different direction for my story of the year. My story of the year is franchise revivals, because we've seen such a moment from the Lions particularly that I don't think we're ever going to forget. Like, the way the nation came together and watched the Lions do this. Plus, I was sitting there covering the draft a year ago when everybody said, well, the Texans, they just traded away first round equity, and we'll see what that means for them, because they could be picking at the top of the draft again next year. Like, everybody thought the Texans were going to suck, right? So seeing the revival of these teams into something different, something bigger, something better, like, to see them not only become good this year, but become what at least it looks like from the outside looking in could be sustainably good. That, to me, is the greatest story this year, because as we walk into next season, it gives hope to every fan base of a team that sucks, but B, it also changes the way we're going to look at this. The Lions will be a Super Bowl darling pick for several teams. So I feel like the revival of franchises that were left for dead year in and year out was actually the cool story of the year to me.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the Lions, like that could have easily been my story of the year. I thought it was great. And to your point, it's not just the fans of teams like the Texans and Lions who can really take heart in this. It's teams who have been down for years and years to say, hey, the Lions were 2 seasons ago, like what was that, 26 months ago, they were 0-10-1. And here they were up 24-7 in a conference championship game a couple of years later. So I think fans of every team who's down right now can look and say, if we just get the right GM, get a coach that brings us to another level, hit a couple draft picks, we could turn this thing around, just like the Lions, just like the Texans. So I think that's a great call for story of the year.